Nearly half a century ago, Oracle transformed how the world managed data. More than a decade ago, we reimagined how business works in the cloud. And now, as AI reshapes how we operate, compete, and innovate, Oracle is once again leading the way. That data, it's now your AI fuel. That cloud, it now trains and runs the world's most powerful AI models. And those models, they power the GenAI built into your business processes and the AI agents that automate it all. Oracle brings AI to every corner of your business so you can imagine beyond the boundaries of what's possible. Whether it's leveraging AI to increase productivity, make decisions faster, and save money, using AI-powered forecasting to secure and maintain a power grid for millions of customers, training AI models to make the world's most powerful particle accelerator run faster and more efficiently, or harnessing AI vector search to tackle antibiotic resistance. We help you stay ahead because Oracle was built for the era of AI, so we can build the future of AI for you.
Please welcome to the stage Greg Pavlik.
Hello. Welcome to AI World. I've been saying for years that Cloud World needs to be rebranded AI World, and so here we are. I couldn't be more excited to be talking to you about our AI platform offerings. So my name is Greg Pavlik. I'm an Executive Vice President at Oracle Cloud Infrastructure, and I'm really going to get in today in how we're using AI across the Oracle platform and how it's positioned for you as a customer to really transform your business. Now, before we get started, let's take a look at some ways in which we're using AI to really impact the world for good.
Language is critical to identity. Language helps provide a sense of belonging. Language is also a historical lens into how people perceive the world.
The Choctaw Nation of Oklahoma is the third largest Native American tribe in North America. We have about 250,000 members. One of the things that I grew to learn working with the tribe is the importance of the language. There's only about 300 first language speakers, and what that means is people that grew up speaking Choctaw first. That is important because that number dwindles every day. So the more that we can invest in teaching others the language and the culture helps us preserve that heritage.
So much of who the tribe is really contained within the culture and defined by the culture. Without language, there is no culture. We want to do everything that we can, knowing that whatever we do is going to be picked up by the next gen. We want to make sure that we're losing as little as possible.
So we set out to create an application that would take English text and translate it into Choctaw, or take Choctaw text and translate it into English. AI is sufficiently caught up to be useful for us to do this. For us, having the right partner was critical. Having GPUs available for us to do the fine-tuning and training that we needed wasn't feasible for us to buy on our own. Another challenge we faced was ensuring that the material that we fed in wouldn't get used elsewhere to preserve what we felt was our culture and our language. So digital and data sovereignty was critical. Oracle AI was the right choice for us for this project, especially the data science notebooks, because it allowed us to have infinite choice. We were able to choose the models, we were able to choose how we would fine tune it, the size, the GPUs, and that really allowed us to experiment to choose what's the best model for us that helps us retain our intellectual property and the Choctaw language, transport it to other applications if we could, but also have the security that we needed.
What we've done is we've enabled future generations to revitalize the language.
This project started as cutting-edge technology to solve a problem, but it was our way. It was built by the Choctaw for the Choctaw in a way that is scalable and in a way that we want to share with other tribes, because we're the third largest tribe. We feel it's imperative for us to give back. There are lots of tribes that don't have IT departments with this skill set, but partnering with Oracle can really help them on their journey, because preserving everyone's culture and everyone's language is important.
All right, this is a great example of how AI can have a positive impact for society. But of course, today we want to talk about the kind of business impacts we can have for AI in your world. So one thing I want to make clear up front is you'll see a lot of discussions in media around tech companies, startups, AI innovation. One of the things we want to drive forward up front is that our focus is really enabling AI for businesses across all industries. So give some examples here, and we're going to look at how AI is being used in the areas like manufacturing, healthcare, retail, and we're really at the beginning of this sea change, but it's happening in real time in all aspects of the enterprise. We want to make sure that up front we get that clear as a baseline assumption. Now, first example I wanted to walk through is Stanford Medicine. So any of you from the Bay Area are familiar with Stanford Medicine, major medical provider in California. And they've been using Oracle AI to create new ways to deal with and treat heart failure. So they're enabling frontier models to provide text-based interpretations of medical images that come in from CT scans, MRIs, X-rays, et cetera, really to improve the treatment for patients who've had heart transplants. The models can understand the details of the images and can call out observations that may not be readily observable by humans. So it's a big advance in their ability to provide quality treatment. Their labs are also using Oracle's AI superclusters, our GPU technology, that are training algorithms that they can use for simulations of robotic surgical procedures. Another good example is Rinnai Corporation. They're a Japanese multinational. They manufacture gas appliances. And so in order to enhance their customers' experience, Rinnai's taken the OCI generative AI service, and they built an agentic solution that works on top of Oracle's autonomous database service. And it's built to respond to customer queries in real time and to give automatic generation of answers for questions that are coming up from the field and from their customer base. They're already seeing 30 to 35% efficiency improvements, which is huge when you're talking about processes or procedures that were predominantly driven by humans. So significant cost savings in this scenario, and it's also driving them to build on their early success and to work on newer and more complex applications of generative AI into areas like supply chain inquiries and working with their customers to book field appointments. So they're really starting to build on that initial success and generate new scenarios and new efficiencies across the business. Now note, Rinnai is a manufacturing company, not a tech company. So it's another example of how this generative AI revolution is really going across all industries and making tangible impacts today. Okay, SMEG, Italian company. They make household appliances. Those of you from Europe may be familiar with them. They've been headquartered in Italy since 1948. They've just recently migrated to OCI to use the generative AI service to improve their overall customer service experience. So they've upgraded their AI assistant using our underlying generative technologies, and they built out a solution that runs over top of a vector database to provide semantic search. So they can give really fast, very accurate answers for customers from a huge library they have of product manuals, product documentation. Outcomes, higher quality answers for their customers, faster resolution on questions, so translating to happier customers and lower costs, right? Another great example of how generative AI can be applied directly in very common scenarios across industries. So these are just a couple of examples overall. One other key point I want to make up front, Oracle really is uniquely positioned to help you achieve these kinds of successes using generative AI. Now, every hyperscaler is going to make the same claim at some level. But the thing about Oracle is that we are managing massive data sets that represent real, tangible enterprise data, business data, that represents the knowledge that we have from applications, from workflows, and the knowledge that you have within your own businesses. So we use that when we're training these models, when we're extending models and building solutions using generative AI, we're bringing that to the forefront. We also have an enormous applications business that cuts across standard business functions like human capital management, supply chain, financials, all the way into industry verticals. All those business processes are learnings that we can use to adapt and apply the AI and then really make sure that it works for the real world. So we're working to extend the underlying generative technologies and make them effective so that you can automate your own business workflows. We know this works because we do it today in the context of our own applications and in our own businesses. If you look at where Oracle's been positioned, we've been working with our customers to make generative AI successful in business by adapting these practices and adopting these key differentiators. The three fundamentals we're focused on to make this successful: first, we're providing access to a unique set of frontier models that no other hyperscaler offers. And this is really key. You can't do effective AI that drives complex business processes and understands complex data sets without the best frontier models. That's one of the big differentiators that we're bringing to the table and a big focus we have in our underlying services. The second is we've really put a lot of effort into building effective AI agents for business. We've added in the out-of-the-box integrations and endpoint support, detailed security and governance capabilities, and we'll talk about those today. And then lastly, when we think about what's required for real businesses, we have to make this all work in a governed fashion from an end-to-end perspective. You're going to look at systems that are becoming more and more distributed or federated as we have agents start to drive actions across the enterprise. It means you need to bring these together with observability, security, and end-to-end understanding. So let's talk about each of these points. We'll start out with the frontier models, which I think is really one of the most exciting developments in the industry and what's really driving this whole revolution around AI in the business environment. So frontier models, what are they? Okay, these are the largest and most sophisticated large language models. And in Oracle Cloud, you get to choose among the world's leading selection of frontier models. So we have, for example, Grok from xAI. We have Gemini, Google's Gemini models, Meta's Llama models. We have models from OpenAI and from Cohere, a longtime partner of ours. There are lots of large language models that have been built out there, but the frontier models are important because they're the only way to get high quality responses and behavior, especially when we start talking about models driving actions and workflows, without doing extensive fine-tuning of smaller, less powerful models. And fine-tuning involves a lot of applied scientist expertise that many businesses don't have, and it can be very expensive, right? So these are the models that can really understand and adapt to your needs natively, and it means they're really best positioned to work successfully with your complicated business workflows and your data sets, okay? So choice is good, and we want to make sure we have choice there, but we're not trying to put things out that we don't have confidence in based on experience, right? Because a bunch of models that underperform, they're not going to help you. So that's why we're curating the best models in the industry, and we're making sure that we're working closely with our partners in this space to improve and optimize their performance for enterprise use cases, okay? We use them to run our own applications. Those of you using Fusion, NetSuite, our vertical, our industry applications, you're using these same frontier models indirectly in the automated functions that are being driven by generative AI. We're also using it to run our own businesses. We have a major set of initiatives across Oracle where we're doing our own internal transformation to make our businesses run more effectively and more efficiently. We're using these same frontier models to get those outcomes for our business. All that goes back into the investments we're working on in our underlying services to make them better, more reliable, more efficient to run real business scenarios. Now, for frontier models, I want to talk about it a little bit more. You get all these models accessed through a single managed service in OCI, the OCI Generative AI service. You get the models, easy to use APIs. You don't have to do any work. There's no engineering required, no development. They also include simplified integrations to tools. We provide data governance capabilities, security, and a whole cost management infrastructure for all the models to be used across the portfolio. So we're really been very deliberate about our approach to this and what models we choose. I want to look a little bit deeper at the frontier model space and get a better understanding of how they can fit into your business. So for that, I'd like to invite Jimmy Baugh, the co-founder of xAI, to the stage to talk with me. All right. Thank you. All right, come on in. All right, Jimmy. So I use Grok all the time. I use it personally. I use it at work. We've got it wired into our own kind of chat experience for Oracle employees. So it's kind of near and dear to my heart as a technology I've become almost dependent on. But I wanted to sit down and kind of unpack what's going on with frontier models and specifically with Grok. So tell us a little bit about what are some of the fundamental design choices that make Grok unique?
Yeah, absolutely. So xAI started 28 months ago, and it took us like shorter time period to go from Grok 0 to Grok 4 sooner than all competitors go from GPT 3.5 to GPT 4 or 4 to 5. So speed is really the heart of how we think about the world. So when we started the company, we already believed the paradigm is going to permanently shift. The old generation of those language models that are trying to do next token predictions in the pre-training is not going to scale in more complex use cases. Think about it. If you just keep predicting next word in a sentence, and you're saying, hey, you're only going to be penalized if on average you're making more mistakes. Some words are more important than other words. How do I know which one to focus on? And now, so when we started the company, we're like, reinforcement learning has to be the key. And reasoning, reinforcement learning has to be the key to drive the next generation models. That's how we can make the model more reliable, less hallucinations, actually focus on the right content to output. And with Grok 4, it's the best reasoning models out there. It's the best premium models on the Oracle Cloud. Because fundamentally, when we assembled the team, when we started xAI 28 months ago, we think reasoning model that thinks from the first principles and able to going through its own context, reason about, hey, maybe the previous calculation, even providing the context was wrong. Let me recalculate all these things. Eventually, I'll put the answer after have things through, many times. And sometimes they make mistakes in its thinking process. You will see the model actually trace back and correct its own mistakes. And these are the behaviors that we don't really see from the previous generations of models, right? Mm-hmm. It only shows up in these reasoning cases. So yeah, so fundamentally, just hey, what's in front of us, what technology do we need to get to until we actually have a digital human that you can trust this model just as you trust another intern or junior analyst you onboard to your firm. So we see with Grok 4, the reasoning, we're the best reasoning models out there. We scaled reinforcement learning because we fundamentally believe that reinforcement learning has to be the key. We run out of data. So now if you want to train your models in your company, we also now come with services that help everyone to fine-tune with reinforcement learning. And that's how we're going to continue to train smarter models, more reliable models. And next stage is how do we go from a single agent, single worker, one chain of thoughts to multiple chain of thoughts. Humans form teams. You have team leads. You have a bunch of workers and colleagues to collectively achieve a certain goal. And that's where the whole field is going. And xAI is always going to be at the forefront of these technologies.
I think when I'm using Grok, I'm oftentimes using it to answer questions I have. And sometimes these are just personal areas of interest, maybe more broadly what you would see from the consumer space or just people out there entering in from X or other systems. But when it comes to business in particular, what elements of this really make Grok unique and uniquely valuable for business users.
Yeah, absolutely. So you ask, Grok, hey, like you had these models and like aces all the human exams on math and STEMs, and like Grok 4 is almost like a PhD graduate into this intelligence capability. Do I really need a PhD to solve my customer support use cases, right? Like, why does this matter really for me? So I think the way to think about it is like for a lot of enterprise use cases, trust and safety is like, and reliability is a core at most of the applications. Like 90% accuracy is not good enough. You want like 3 nines, 4 nines really to drive other applications. So now with these reasoning capabilities, right? Like we see that from previously, those pre-trained models, so the next token prediction model hallucinated quite a lot. Even you provide the right context in the RAG system you build up in your engineering team, the models still hallucinate. But with these like reasoning models, like if the model does the thing from first principle, corrects its own mistakes, like we really see like the reliability improves significantly with these Grok 4 level models. And of course we have like upcoming Grok 4 fast is like a much it's a more economical solutions, right? When you think about enterprise use cases, trust and safety, and steerability is another core capability. I think at XAI fundamentally we believe the developer and whoever deploy these models should ultimately control how this model behaves. Unlike others who may have prejudice on how the model should say and should not say, we say, hey, ultimately you guys are the ones who should decide, whether the model should speak, how it should speak the language of your brand. And we're seeing Grok these days, being deployed last couple of days with Disney. So if it can work for Disney and pass all the parents over there, it can probably work for all you out there. So, and then if you think about really, if you're like engineering leads in this enterprise business, those are 3 factors: speed, performance, and cost. Right? And I think that's fundamentally how we think about developing models for you all is, the performance, like we already have the best reasoning models out there, nailing, leading the benchmark top 1 on many things. Now, from the best models, we're able to train much faster models with Grok 4 Fast that just got on the Oracle Cloud and with the Grok Code Fast. So speed and cost becomes the next 2 things that will optimize. And we believe the perfect model is going to have all 3 things.
Okay. I mean, we see the impact, like I say, day to day, just using it at Oracle, and we're starting to work with more and more customers. We'll talk to one shortly. Where is this going? Like, where do you see Grok's evolution? And let's maybe try to tie that also into what's going to be important when you consider the business context.
Yeah, absolutely. So what we're seeing coming up, right, is where you see from the beginning of this year, we have Grok 3 reasoning. That was the first step we do to do reasoning, reinforcement learning, and we see like Grok 4 that really take the reinforcement learning to the next level. Next generation Grok, we're going to continue to scale the reinforcement learning. But along the way, we're already seeing tool use is a big factor, right? So like having a model, it's almost like if you hire a human analyst and hire an intern, you don't just ask them, hey, let's solve this problem with piece of pen and paper, right? You're like, hey, here's a computer, use that, and then use and then take the search engine we did that curate like years of companies' knowledge and put that in the context of these models, right? So we already see this like playing out. So what's next after the tool use is like, hey, like the model may actually take a while to actually start using these tools. What about we do some pre-compilation times, right? So like, right now it doesn't make sense. The models almost like wake up from the coma every single time. It's like have to research your entire company's index to answer some very simple questions for use case. Like that's not how human interns work, right? Like, we have a good intuition where to look for information. So it's almost the memory component is going to be crucial for these models to excel in enterprise. And every company, every enterprise out there have a very unique knowledge base and database stored internally, right? Like, so you want an agent to actually first go out and explore this knowledge base and like the way how your firm, your partner would like these things to be run, right? And then once it learns that, and so the model doesn't have to spend like 2 minutes of doing all the reasonings every single time. It will get a much snappier response. So first you gotta have this, the memory part for the enterprise, and then the next coming up is like, hey, we're gonna have multiple agents working simultaneously. Each of them have their own tools. They're able to communicate with each other. They all kind of have a shared memory pools, and now you can take a task that takes maybe like a single agent hours to do, because these days most of these reasoning models can already run by itself with all those tools on the task that's hours at a time. How about with for example, these days, one application we see is like compliance automation. All right, Grok is actually the state of art of like the compliance automation. You have a long document, you have to check against some policies from your insurance underwriters. And turned out, like we found internally, we cannot reach 100% accuracy on some of the evals. You know why? Because we were like very puzzled. Turned out the policy written by humans are incompatible across different streams. So models are actually doing a better job than humans. So you actually start seeing like, hey, if you actually train all the models in workflow with all the tools, have access to all the company information, and apply multi-agent to these problems, you can actually really solve, not just like be a co-pilot to a human, but actually help the human to be better.
So as you're looking forward, like what? You guys are doing a lot of experimentation, a lot of research. What is it that gets you kind of most excited about how these large language models are going to evolve?
Yeah, so multimodal interfaces. Like right now, we think about, I think the language model is almost like a wrong word now. Like in 6 months, I don't think anyone's going to be talking about language models anymore. Everyone's going to just talking about, hey, this is an AI. It has a language interface, has a voice interface. Right now, like XAI has all the voice, and it will be on Oracle very soon. And then we have all the image understanding, video understanding modalities, and the model can already do that. So, and very soon it's going to take actions in the real world. So it's really just like a human, right? Like if we think about what's the best way to communicate with another human, that you send emails through text, you talk to that person, you communicate it with slides. The model will just do like like a huge unlock for many of the applications out there. Is like the models be able to use the same tools to read the same PDF files. You don't have to translate your PDF into text and then pump the text into the models, and model may write some code. I think it would just be whole thing would be end to end. It would be like PDF in, PDF out, Excel in, Excel out.
Yeah, this is going to be amazing. I mean, these models are now taking on the characteristics of the senses of humans and being able to process outputs like we do as well, but with the full power of the machine behind it. Okay, thanks. I think this is some great insights. I'm also going to invite another guest out onto the stage. And this is an example of a customer who's using OCI and XAI together. The company this gentleman is from is called Rappi. It is the fastest growing service in Latin America, based in Bogota. They do automated deliveries to homes, so they're driving a lot of commerce and a lot of commercial activity throughout Latin America. And they've been using OCI together with XAI. So let me invite Juan Diego Sanchez, the Rappi VP of Product for Consumers, out onto the stage. JD?
Jamie, how are you?
All right, thank you for joining us. I'm
thank
glad
you
you're
for having
here.
me.
I love this example where we've got the creators of the technology together with the users of the technology and ability to talk about how to make these collaborations just really give real-world results. So tell us a little bit about Rappi.
Sure. So Rappi is the leading super app in Latin America. We operate in 9 countries. We are in more than 300 cities all around Latin America. So basically, we connect millions of users with merchants and couriers to save time. That's what we do. So we deliver anything in 10 minutes, from restaurants to groceries to pharmacies. We do everything. We also do travel and financial services, but that's what we do.
Okay, 10 minutes is impressive. I'd like to get those results here in the US at some point. That's great. Sure. So what are the biggest challenges that you're really trying to use AI to address?
So in the core, we are a logistics company, so we care a lot about efficiency. We are now facing a lot of challenges on customer service, right? Offering a really good service for our users, but we also use AI for routing to have less, to get the 10 minutes. In order to get the 10 minutes, we use AI in order to do it. But of course, the most challenging thing is how we can offer a smooth experience for our users, how we can make less clicks into the experience so they can get anything in less of the time. That's the big challenge.
Okay, well, we're here for an Oracle event, so let me ask you right up front, why did you choose Oracle Cloud?
We care a lot about reliability and performance, actually. So I think that's something that Oracle has been offering to us for a long time, but we also care about hands-on. We are Rappi, which is rápido in Spanish, fast. We care a lot about the hands-on work, and I think Oracle has been offering that to us. And of course, you guys partnering with frontier models for us is super, super important as we are trying to tackle very challenging challenges. So I think that's it.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I guess with Oracle is helping you to scale with the compute. How has Grok been helping you? Like, what are some exciting use cases, Grok?
Yeah. So this is something that we haven't launched yet, but we love saving time to our users. So what we are building is basically a way that users can order whatever they want via a voice note, just a couple of messages, and they will get it in the door. So, hey, Rappi, I want my Starbucks order, my favorite Starbucks order, and we will get that to users. So I think that's the most exciting thing we're building, and thanks to Grok and thanks to Oracle, we're able to do it. Yeah.
Very exciting.
Great. So one of the things, let me ask you one more question here. One of the things we often see is companies, customers will go and they'll build a great POC. They'll do a pilot, a lot of excitement, but in some cases they struggle to go from that pilot to production.
Yeah.
And I wanted to kind of get your insights based on your experience. How would you guide people to bridge that transition?
I think a lot is about fear to launch to real users. So I will say time to market is super important. AI is not more like research and something that we will test in a lab. No, AI is now get it in the hands of users. They will tell you what they think, and then with the insights you can iterate fast. So I will say that's super important, and also how you train your team to use AI for everything. I think that's also something that we do a lot in Rappi.
Do you guys use coding agents or anything to accelerate internally?
We do, and we are seeing improvement in productivity, insanely. So I think that's super important too.
So in a lot of ways you're applying these frontier models across the business.
100%.
Many different dimensions. Okay, well this is great. I really appreciate it, guys. Thank you for taking the time.
Oh, thank you.
And this is exactly the kind of collaboration and the kind of outcomes we want to enable. Thanks, guys.
Thanks, Greg.
Yeah, great example. Again, frontier models coming together with business scenarios and really rapidly driving outcomes. And this is exactly what we want to enable for you. So we talked about the frontier models a bit. Let's dive in on AI agents and how they can impact your business. So the frontier models are table stakes, right? They're fundamental. These are kind of the brains, so to speak, for automating business processes. But you need more than just the models to do this. And the fundamental building block technology, which some of you are familiar with, is what we call agents, okay? So what are agents and why are they important? AI agents are software components that are built around the large language models, the generative technologies, that are able to interact, learn, reason, and take actions. So very powerful, almost human-like considerations. And they can take the place of custom programs, although they're often more adaptable. They can accelerate the work of humans. In some cases, they can take on work that previously wasn't doable by machines. So in the context of your business, they can be integrated with your applications. They can integrate with your data sets. They can understand your data and your business problems. And they can work with humans really to drive automation of your core business processes. Agents connect the power of the frontier models with structured and unstructured data, which is often stored in the cloud or in databases. Okay? That's number one. They also automate complex processes that involve core business applications, right? So if you think about any of the end-to-end initiatives that you're taking across your company, the agents are often the enabling technology that can drive those processes, work with the systems, use your data, and get outcomes for our core business processes and scenarios. How do you enable these? How do you implement them? Well, one of the things we're announcing today is a new capability within our OCI generative AI service, right? We call this the AI Agent Hub. So the AI Agent Hub is a feature of the service that makes it really easy to deploy agents using the frontier models of your choice, like Grok, which we just discussed. They have built-in connectivity with your data sources and applications, so they can be connected to apps, to tools. They can actually look at and understand data sets that are specific to your business. We expose standard APIs that work with any open source agent framework, so you're not stuck in a proprietary model. You're able to implement the agents with any of the popular frameworks and technologies that you choose. And we provide a simple hosting environment to deploy those implementations into. So you can deploy these agents, run these agents securely, take advantage of our built-in security and governance and controls that we're going to talk about. And we help you manage things like privacy and data protection as a top priority. So Agent Hub, it provides you as a customer with a very simple and open way to manage and deploy agents. There's no coding required. Using our platform, customers can move from using LLMs directly, kind of more point tasks with basic inferences, to really developing advanced agentic applications. It's all within a single cloud service. We also provide pre-built agents. And these pre-built agents can be used directly within your workflows. So you don't even have to do any setup or deployment. It makes it really easy to integrate your enterprise information sets into standard business workflows, whether those are using databases, structured data, or unstructured data that's in documents, document corpuses, and knowledge bases. They can work across any line of business. You configure them and set them up, but easy to deploy. We use them in sales, marketing, HR. You can apply them in whatever line of business is important to you. And you can see that these agents can be used really quickly to automate workflows with this example on the screen. You can do things like automate reporting, have them create dashboards on the fly, send routine updates to leadership through emails without doing any development at all. Now, one of the advantages that we bring to the table is that we do this all within a unified AI platform. It spans across Oracle services. You get a consistent experience, whether you're using Fusion applications, OCI services, applications within NetSuite, et cetera. You can also ask your agents to connect with your Oracle database to gain access to things like supplier information and past order history, and start taking actions that would go and update systems of record within Fusion and NetSuite. You get one control plane, one control panel, so you have full visibility into what's happening with your agents across your entire Oracle ecosystem. This becomes really important in the era of multi-agents. This is one of the things that Jimmy was talking about, is that agents automate point business processes, but the real magic starts to happen as you bring many agents together to automate end-to-end and complex business workflows. Let's take a look at an example.
In this demo, an entire supply chain is powered by Agentic AI. With the OCI Generative AI Agent Hub, it goes way beyond a chatbot, from detecting low inventory to engaging suppliers and even issuing purchase orders. Using my existing single sign-on, I can securely access the data I need across Oracle databases, Fusion applications like ERP, or third-party apps. With secure access in place supported by protocols like MCP, I'll work with 4 AI agents, each with a clear role, collaborating seamlessly together. They are System Observer, Order Orchestrator, Strategic Sourcer, and Communication Specialist. The System Observer agent keeps a constant watch and fires an alert the moment action is needed. When a new alert lands, the Order Orchestrator agent assembles my request: what to buy, how many, where to deliver, and by when, then opens the draft in my ERP system and pulls the approved supplier list. With that list, the Strategic Sourcer agent executes the plan: direct API outreach where available, and seamless email handling via the Communication Specialist, who crafts emails in your chosen tone to stay on brand. As responses come in, my AI agent lines up a clear comparison and a recommendation. Finally, I remain in control. Once the agents have done all the heavy lifting, it's up to me to approve the recommendation. If I say yes, Order Orchestrator creates the order directly in my ERP system. If I say no, the flow stops until the next alert. This is just one example of the powerful solutions I can build with the OCI Generative AI Agent Hub. Learn more at oracle.com/AI.
All right, so great example of how we can automate business processes. Really powerful, like real-world scenarios that you can solve for today. In order to do this, we really need to bring together many agents. So this multi-agent paradigm becomes particularly important. So our focus on the platform is on multi-agent enablement, the ability to do these end-to-end workflows and have them driven by AI, not just as a portion of your day-to-day work or your day-to-day business process, but across entire flows and across entire lines of business. So what you want to imagine here is that there's a controller or supervisor agent that can coordinate many sub-processes, and each of these sub-processes is managed by its own agent. You can define the processes to combine whole fleets of agents. They can work seamlessly together, and you can automate these end-to-end processes for your business. So think about this example, a company's procurement process, and how many individual sub-processes have to execute in order to complete a typical procurement exercise. So you may have to detect shortages. You may need to identify potential purchase options, evaluate them, decide which units to buy. In a multi-agent system, you can have the AI monitoring the supply, assembling the purchase requisitions, executing the purchases, and even handling communications with your suppliers. Our generative AI service is designed for scenarios just like this, where your business needs an agent platform that works with many systems. The service is designed to orchestrate agents across endpoints, protocols, and services. So let's look a little bit deeper at this, okay? We also have an option for developers that we're announcing. Oracle Code Assist is Oracle's coding agent. It's infused with knowledge about development practices, code, examples, open source projects, but it's also trained to understand the Oracle database APIs, our applications APIs and workflows, and the OCI service portfolio. We're working with this today with tens of thousands of Oracle developers using Code Assist in their day-to-day work and accelerating their time to value across almost every task developers tackle, right? It's not just about trying to generate code. It can be used in debugging. It can be used in testing. It can be used in code understanding, doing things like translations between languages, upgrades. Very powerful environment. The agent plugs directly into your developer's favorite IDE, things like IntelliJ or VS Code, and can be used today. Let's get into a little bit more about the enterprise needs that are emerging as we move into this multi-agentic world. So one thing I want to point out up front is with the Oracle platform, there is no need to feel like you're locked into a one-size-fits-all solution. That's not the world of AI. Many different companies have different requirements. They want to invest in different ways. So our approach goes across the entire spectrum of AI enablement, from allowing you to use AI infrastructure and our supercluster technology to build AI from scratch. We have these managed models and the pre-built agents that you can use directly to apply within your business context and develop custom agents. And then we also embed AI using the same technologies and the same platform across the application portfolio. But at the end of the day, it's really going to manifest most commonly in these agentic systems. As you start to scale and you move from, say, machine learning to using generative AI for point tasks into a world where we're doing really robust automation with agents, the AI services take on a lot of the heavy lifting, right? You can create code in the blink of an eye. You can have applications that start to drive your business workflows automatically. And you may even have these workflows being adapted or customized on the fly, especially if you're interacting with humans that need to make adjustments and changes as they're working with your business systems. This is exactly the kind of AI future that we've been working toward and that we're delivering. But as these new capabilities grow in impact, so does the possibility of risk if left unmanaged, right? In fact, the risks can multiply. Important point here is that your agent systems need to be governed, and you need to have that governance built in and available from day one. So what we've done is, of course, tackle this problem as a part of the OCI offerings. Tight security and governance has been a key part of what we've been delivering from the start. And the services provide these as kind of built-in features. So you get the value of AI, you can start using it, but you don't have to sacrifice control. Let me walk you through this a bit. One key principle we have at Oracle is always to safeguard your data. So our services are enforcing encryption in transit and at rest. We apply security protocols across the stack to protect access. Sensitive data stays in place. And when we use agents and we enable agents to access that data, they're always respecting those policies, acting in the identity that they're intending, and keeping information safe for you and for your business, right? So the system is designed to protect who can access your data and for what purpose. It's not enough, though, to just safeguard the data itself, right? You also have to protect access. We have access controls that use enterprise identity, full policy management, and we add in a native observability to the agent execution stack. So you get real-time monitoring, error detection, accuracy tracking. All these are there to spot anomalies and risk. On top of that, we layer in safety features that keep your actions that the system takes fully auditable and contained. The AI systems will require special kinds of controls. This is where something called guardrails come in. Guardrails are a technique that really use AI to manage AI. They provide a kind of safeguard that will help your organization's tools maintain the standards, policies, and business values your organization expects and requires. So general purpose AI, which is just trained on all the information on the internet, may provide answers, for example, that you're not expecting. You don't want your model to be recommending a competitor's product. Guardrails are going to be put in place to keep the AI behaving well and to keep it safe in your implementations. Now, we talked a lot about AI agents and how important they're becoming. Agents are going to wind up connecting to lots of data sources, applications, and talking to other AI models. We got to secure these connections and make sure these interactions are controlled and well understood. So every agent can raise questions like, who is the agent? What are they authorized to do? Can we track and audit what they have done? There's a standard protocol called Model Context Protocol, or MCP. This is something we use in the industry to connect systems together with agents. Really important enabling technology so that your agents can talk to APIs, applications, tools. One of the benefits, of course, is that you can bring all these things together into new workflows. But with MCP, you also want to ensure that things don't happen that are unmanaged or inappropriate. That means these connections to databases, to resources and tools could become a liability if they're not governed. So let's talk about how we address this. So OCI has Guardrails for MCP, and they offer kind of a multi-layered protection system for AI agents. They're built to actively monitor the endpoints and interactions that are occurring, and the system has a number of really important features. One is that we just have strict deployment controls. So you have a security checkpoint to help catch problems early on. For example, each time a new MCP tool or server is built, it gets scanned for risk. If issues are found, the builds are designed to fail and prevent unsafe code from ever reaching production. We also have live threat detection, so there's ongoing monitoring to help neutralize any threats that might arise. And we build all this with customizable policies, so your organization can define and tune the policies for the system and control how they work. These AI guardrails from OCI are integrated into the base offering. There's no additional cost. We consider the security to be just a fundamental feature of the platform and critical for the success of the services. So they're kind of an integral part of our AI offerings. I want to invite Darcy Matias from Deloitte and Samir Daya from Motorola to talk about how they're building a new generation of agentic solutions using this technology. So Darcy and Matias, or Dark. Hey, Samir. Thank you. See you. Guys, come on out. Okay, Darcy, let's start with you. How are you and Deloitte been progressing over the course of the last year?
First of all, thanks for having me here again today this year, Greg. And so it's been a lot. It's been a very busy year. And last year, our strategy has stayed primarily the same, where we want to focus on really innovating on GenAI to help our clients achieve value through their technology investments. And so last year, we talked a lot about how we wanted to help our clients take advantage of the embedded fusion component. What's changed since then is we've now AI Studios come out, which is great. That's another tool to allow us to help our clients build innovation. And then continuing what we talked about last year is building custom solutions on OCI, leveraging the LLM and NVIDIA that you have within the OCI environment. The one other thing that's happened in the last year is the pivot towards agentic. And I think last year, I don't think we talked about agents at all last year. And now it's all we talk about are agents. And so one of the key things that we've done is develop a platform called Zora.ai, which is really a collection of complex, advanced agents to help our customers take advantage of innovation to help their business across finance, supply chain, and HR. And that platform leverages the leading LLMs, as well as it's built on OCI. But the really cool thing about Zora is that it helps clients really take that first step to generative AI or AI in their environment. But it links with Fusion, it links with data sources, and it augments what Oracle is building into their platform, but leveraging and working with your team to build in the GenAI services. So lots of progress has been made, and that's really the key thing over the last year is really the inventory of assets that we have and clients that have a positive ROI on GenAI has continued to blossom. Okay, so what I'm learning here is that you're seeing a big shift from just using base LLMs into this agentic world. And you have a new platform called Zora, which is built on OCI and kind of helping to drive your customers in that direction. Can you tell us a little bit more about Zora?
Sure, yeah.
It was something that we've been working on for a little over a year now. We've invested millions into it. It really is just that platform that allows our clients to, through a subscription model, to take advantage of agentic solutions in a quick way. And so it's quite complicated. There's lots of logic built into it. And it has gone through many iterations of our journey clients and pilots through the last 18 months. So it's definitely production ready, and we've had a number of clients take advantage of it, and they're starting to see some productivity improvements through using Zora. So it's really a way in which it opens the aperture for clients to take advantage of generative AI and agents specifically on the OCI platform.
Okay, and I definitely want to maybe get a little bit more on why did you wind up doing Zora on OCI?
So we looked at many platforms, to be honest, and we went through a number of different scenario tests, performance tests, and OCI showed up really well. It was the most robust, it had extremely high performance, and the availability of your GenAI services and LLMs were exactly what we're looking for. So when we stress test some of the most complicated agents on OCI, they performed extremely well. So that's the process we went through to choose OCI as our platform of choice.
So performance, reliability.
Performance and reliability and availability of LLMs.
These frontier models. So Samir, you're working with Deloitte and you're doing implementations for Motorola using this combination of technologies. Tell us a little bit about that. Like, what are you doing and why did you choose the OCI platform?
Yeah, certainly. You know, within our enterprise, we use what we call a hybrid model. So we have our core Oracle ERP on Oracle Cloud Infrastructure. We have Oracle Fusion, and we also have a number of best-of-breed SaaS applications. So when we started off, we really needed a domain-specific AI platform that could cater to specifically supply chain and finance that would leverage, our environment, right, with EBS on-prem and these SaaS applications. So our first agentic AI use case was really targeted at our project-based finance operations, and specifically around, hey, how do we automate some of the manual inputs? How do we reconcile billing and invoicing for our customers, and ultimately trying to drive, better results for our customers, but also be really efficient from some of the manual processes that we had internally.
So one of the things that keeps coming up here, I'm hearing words like efficiency, performance, and obviously important drivers for business and for the outcomes you're looking for. Can you tell us a little bit more on how those things came together for you on OCI?
Yeah, and I mentioned, Oracle Cloud Infrastructure, we run our on-prem EBS environment there. Mm-hmm. So when we looked at our infrastructure, one of the things we realized was that was really critical to our business processes that we run, and OCI was an enabler to those processes. We also looked at where our data resides, and our data resides in an environment that OCI obviously is resident to, and that offered a lot of benefit when we think about agentic AI and some of those key use cases in that environment. So when we put all that together, there's a time to market element as well as the cost effectiveness and the efficiency that we expect to get out of it.
I think that really illustrates the power of the platform, the power of the generative AI, and then the insights that you guys have in terms of how they can interconnect with the whole Oracle ecosystem. So great example. Really appreciate it. Thank you, guys.
Yeah, that's great.
Thank you.
There you go. Thank you. Yeah. Yeah, great example of how a business can lean in with the latest and greatest in the generative technologies and really drive outcomes with confidence on OCI. So we've covered a lot of the new innovations that are happening in Oracle AI and how they can be beneficial for businesses, how you can use them directly. So take a look at the new generative AI service, the Agent Hub, and our expanded set of frontier models. I think you quickly see how beneficial they can be for your own businesses and business processes. And check out the Oracle Code Assist as well. I can speak from personal experience that it can be a game changer for organizations that are doing technical delivery. So with OCI, you can choose from the best models in the industry. You can build agents quickly without integration pain, and you can deploy them across both Oracle and third-party applications. You get trusted, audible, and scalable AI for your business. This momentum is just getting started, Oracle's been in the news a lot. It's all about AI, the investments we're doing around AI, and the partnerships we're doing with the biggest names in the industry as things move forward in this space. We're ready to turn those investments and those innovations into outcomes for you. We've been your partner for enterprise systems, for applications, for data management, middleware, cloud, and now we're accelerating our AI initiatives to really take your business into the future. So Oracle brings together the world's top models, these enterprise-ready agentic capabilities, governance, and security in one place. We're enabling a whole new generation of agentic solutions and focusing in on how you can be successful with your business. Dive in at AI World. These sessions have a lot of important new announcements and deliverables. Our teams are there. They're over in the workshops for hands-on exercises. You can sit down, stand up new applications, build agents, work with the newest frontier models, and you can build all that with confidence. So enjoy AI World, and thank you for coming.